gentlemen. I, Major Jayesh Varma, once again welcome you all to this platform of Value Talks, where we are discussing various aspects of you know your life, actually, starting from finance, health, career, transition, and we will keep doing it. So today, taking the things ahead, we have with us Commander Jagdeep Ghuman, and after his stint in Navy, where he performed many prestigious roles, after post-retirement in 2016, he pursued MBA from Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, and the MBA which we are talking about over here, and that is a topic of discussion. That is 1 year MBA, which is also known as Executive MBA. After which he has served in corporate in many verticals, starting from operations, management, sales, business strategies, and business setup itself. So he's got a vast experience, with him, which he will be shared with us today. And specifically, we would like to know from him that what impact did this executive MBA made in his journey in civil world. So welcome, Jagdeep sir.
Yes, I mean to say about my naval career, I think the Jayesh has already covered, a lot of aspects about that. So before I take on certain questions, I just wanted to, uh, I would just wanted everybody in this forum to understand why this journey of mine was through an Indian School of Business and not through one of those MBAs we get it through our defense forces and uh, and and not through any other means. So I mean to say, when I decided to move out of service, that was in 2016. So about a year back, I thought over various aspects in my life, and from that, I felt that I wanted to do something into business development or sales or into project management, and the kind of openings which were available in our defense field were not the ones which I was able to really relate to. Though I will cover during the later half of the talk, as there is a merit in even considering those particular things as well. Uh, so when you prepare, then I thought, which are the best ways to go about getting a job, especially into a CV street, which is totally different from our defense background. And based on my, talks with a few of my friends who had broken into corporate sector, and were mostly those who had some kind of an MBA, which was totally very different. Uh, in the sense, the same way which I took it, and they had also, undertook that particular journey, and so that's why I chose my MBA route. So with respect to the top colleges in India, when I prepared my list, so colleges which I considered was IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Calcutta, IIM Bangalore, and Indian School of Business. And I mean to say, it is also, I wanted to tell you that I did even appear for NBI. They also have a 1 year course, so I did appear for their exam and I got selected also. But I mean to say, they could not play in the sense accept me for my age, because I was already about 41, 42 years old. So from that perspective, that was the first signal which I got, that how difficult it is to break into certain colleges, and where the pressure is on placements, and all these colleges maintain very high placement rates. So accepting such a senior position, it's not a senior position, such as aged profile in their part of their network. Ahmedabad, I presume they accept little older also. That's they and so with respect to in the sense is they have a profile where they, I think, so around 35, 40 years old, also do join PGPX, IIM Ahmedabad. Uh, Indian School of Business was my first choice because it has, I mean, so there has been a precedence where a lot of naval officers and even few army officers have gone through the same grind, and you know, everybody made it. Everybody made it, and to Amazon and to whichever field they had to go with that particular thing. Having said that, I mean to say it was the most difficult journey, and I had so many self-doubts. And I even thought of why did I take this step? Because because when we joined NDA or when we joined at that particular time, we were very, very bright. I mean to say, I got selected in engineering colleges and all that. I had this tempo of studies and I had many, many things under my belt at that. But this time when I joined, it was totally very different thing. They are cream of all those colleges who come here, who are consultants, who are from Lady Shri Ram College, or from IITs. And I mean to say, if you are the top 1 or 2% bracket, can you imagine where you stand generally would stand? So it is a very, very difficult course, and though you would survive, any 4G does survive, but I mean to say, improving my CGPA became a almost like a battle, and after about 6 months, I just gave up. So that was one particular thing. Uh, with respect to how does make a difference? I will come to the finance part a little separately. How does it make a difference
Sir,
with respect?
actually, I'll lead the webinar and I'll ask you pertinent questions, and obviously we'll go through your complete journey.
Mhm.
But before I go ahead and start with my questions, let me first ask you a very basic question. Does executive MBA or 1 year MBA holds, competition or holds merit in front of proper 2 year MBA, or there is some biasness in the market regarding the same?
Um, so look, if you have, there are two ways of going about it. If I would suggest if there is an executive MBA, then I would suggest you go through your normal defense channels, those courses which are given to you, because I mean to say they are equally good courses, and there is some kind of placement efforts also done by these particular things. Executive MBAs, if you look at from the civilian side of the world, they are generally sponsored by the companies. So a lot of people who come to these executive MBAs are generally, I mean to say, compensated by the companies. Uh,
Understood.
my vice president sales from Kalpatru was doing executive MBA, Indian School of Business, compensated by the company. And I mean to say, you will find obviously the cream there also, but again, all of them, say 70 to 80% were compensated by the companies. So I mean to say that an executive MBA and a full-time MBA generally have similar costing. I think the executive MBA is even higher. Uh, and I don't know, but in my um, personal opinion, executive MBA may not be the right choice. Having said that, I would say that I have heard some very good reviews of PGP Pro, which is I need to say there are three programs which are run by Indian School of Business. That
Sir.
is PGP. Then there is this PGP Pro and PG Max. So some of our naval officers have done very well in PGP Pro, and that allows you to work also, and at the same time pursue this course. And I've been given to understand there is some kind of placement help also.
Understood. Understood. So, sir, Ghuman sir, so if I ask you, as you've completed your MBA from ISB Hyderabad, so what are the three things or the biggest advantages of doing MBA, as you have done it, as you have already worked in corporate sector for long now? So, how do you see it? How much did it help you? What are the three things advantages?
Okay. So I will give you first very generic things. What are the big advantages of doing from Indian School of Business, or maybe it could be from Ahmedabad as well. So number one is, which is very, I would say, intangible thing is you come to know what is the reality when you meet the cream, the cream of, you know,
Agrees.
uh, and you will realize where do you stand? I'm not saying defense forces guys are not good, but when you see these corporate guys, when they play with Excel, when they play with you know the business problems, how fast they are, and they don't they don't have any kind of routines in the night. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock discussions going on, sometimes even 3 o'clock in the night. Next day, 8 o'clock, you have to come to the um, in the sense to the college. Then you get. I was surprised Monday. Then there are assignments which are so hard, and despite you being part of a group, the group expects that you address some part of that particular assignment. So that was one very big learning, which it prepares you for the very hard life of corporate in terms of. I mean, say after those kind of learnings, whatever I've seen in corporate, I've not faced any challenges with respect to any professional problem or a business problem, because I know those answers and to do that. Second thing is with respect to excellent alumni network. Now, in not in my case specifically because of my profile, which was on the higher side, but I did approach fewer people, and one of my relocation in Chandigarh was because of my alumni network. Because I was in Bombay, my wife was working in Delhi. I was not able to find my particular job, and the kind of jobs which float in alumni network are totally different. You would never ever see. We have a separate email box where you can see n number of jobs, and jobs come like every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and there's so many of them. You can't even compare LinkedIn with it. That is
Understood.
one very very different. Third thing is it gives you an opportunity to pitch your profile to the civil world. I mean to say, I got shortlisted for Zomato, I got shortlisted for GMAT, and I got shortlisted for Kalpataru sales. So of all these three roles, Zomato, I qualified till the last thing, but unfortunately, they again said the same thing. Look, we like you so much, but unfortunately, it's because of age, we may not take you up. Kalpataru, they initially said, we will take you for customer care duties, customer care responsibilities and all that.
Yeah,
And
right.
then
Yes.
I had the opportunity to interact with president sales and all that. Next 1 month, he says, no, Jagdeep, I like you. You want to come be part of my sales team. So this is the break which I at that time did not realize how important is it. From zero sales background, they picked me up and put me in leading 6, 7 real estate
Right.
projects in Bombay, Indore, Delhi, Hyderabad. Can you imagine? I was just kind of for me being coming from Navy or defense, you think yeah, you every time is very big and all, but that was also quite big, which that reality hit me a little later. So these are the three things which I feel are, and lastly, one more reason which I would say is at my age and stage, it also helps me in business when I
Understood.
connect with my alumni network is I remember in my Edifix days, I had to get some business done from a WeWorks, and not I was I mean to say, including my boss was not able to crack it. Just because I knew somebody of my course in that WeWork, I was able to resolve it. That was
Understood. So, for SS officers, I am sure you will recommend these 1 year courses. But if I
I
talk about, yes, if I talk about 20, I mean, officers on PMR who has served for 20 years or more, what are your views? Should they go for 1 year MBA?
so no, I will give you both sides of the story. Now, when I left service, my initial thoughts were I am not going to do anything which is related to defense. Right.
Understood.
So my thought process was I'm going to break a fresh, which I feel, looking back is wrong. In the corporate world, people gain experience and then they open the same kind of business because of their experience. Now, being so many years in the defense, so obviously you have an advantage over anybody else to be in that particular field. So I think so. There is nothing wrong in making a career in defense firms or defense network firms. And if you are networked well enough, you need not take an MBA or any other course, or just a orientation course which helps you in getting into that particular grind. So that is my one part of it. Second is even security roles. If it gives you an edge, yes, why not? Why not? But in case you want to break you into roles which are not related to defense, it is very difficult unless you know, not even HR, the business leads or business heads, account managers, because if they trust you, then only they'll take you.
Understood.
I have not found anybody who has gone into a business in the civil world, and a pure city street. Um, I mean to say, I've not heard of anybody, ever breaking into anything without getting through some kind of program, or at least he had a very strong network. I mean,
Understood.
somebody personally well, because it is impossible to, because why I say that, because my vice president sale was 45 years old. I mean, everybody who does well in corporate world at 45, he's an admiral or a general, or, that kind of thing.
Understood. Understood.
And you are breaking at about 42 or 41 years of old age at that time. So you can imagine, your uh, where you stand and versus that vice president, and those particular kind of things. So yeah,
Understood, sir. Understood, sir.
so that
So,
is one.
what would be one reason, sir, which you would suggest? I mean, for which one solid reason for which PMR officers can do the MBA vis-a-vis SS officers. What are your views on SS officers? What are your views on PMR officers? Can both of them do? Can only short
For
service commission officers do?
for short service commission officers, I mean to say, um, except for the financial part, I they should do it.
Okay,
They
that's that.
they should do it. They will get picked up. They will get picked
Understood.
up. And those who are about 20 years like me and about that, but let me set the record straight. For even 20 years, there has been all any officer who's ever gone through any 1 year program, whether it is Ahmedabad or uh, Indian School of Business. Indian School of Business more so because they have a very strong placement cell, very strong placement cell, and so it does help you to bring them up, to get you placed into a role which is it's totally different. But don't get I would say in the belief that look, I'll go to Indian School of Business, and and the first thing that I'll do is I'll get picked up by Amazon. That may be a little far-fetched.
Understood.
So don't, because it's a in Indian School of Business, Amazon comes with a different kind of program. So their competition is very high. They do pick up. I mean to say, I also came with the same belief that the first thing I will do is on day one I'll get picked up with Amazon, and I was surprised, got shocked that my resume was not even shortlisted. Forget about
Understood.
going there and talking one word out of that. So that was
Understood. Understood. So there is a cutthroat competition out there, sir, and I am also witness to that. I have done it from I am Indore. Although I have done TGR course, which is allowed 6 months course. It doesn't hold much value, but our placement was 20% when we finished the course, and when we left the institution. It was 20%. So it was actually heartbreaking. So coming on to the monetary aspects of these courses. So when I say monetary aspects, not only your tuition fees, your residence and all those expenses, but you are not earning for that specific period. If you're doing 1 year MBA course, you're not earning for that. I mean, during that duration. So how the ROI of doing 1 year MBA helps us? Is it in
no.
positives, or is it?
I mean to say the most difficult part is for a retired officer or a person who is looking for PMR is ability to handle uncertainty. which though in our professional field, when you're doing your operations and all that, you handle it very well. But when it comes to your personal requirements and all that, we are not, I mean, so used to it because life in Forge is very, very certain you're going to get a house. If not, then you will even get a house out of whatever division. And so that is one particular thing. So the most important thing is if you're going to take a decision, if you want to join a 1 year course without, without pay or without something, are you a decent, good worker in defense? According to me, a person who is genuinely intelligent and has been doing well, and and for reasons he did not make it ahead, or there could be many reasons because of a pyramidal structure, you will make it. Get a job to be off that. It may take time, but put that thing, at a separate corner of your brain. Forget about that. You will definitely get something. So that is one. Second part is you need to decide on what you want to do, and specifically that is very, very important. Now, from the money point of view, it is definitely very important. I was very lucky because my better half was working, and she was in Delhi. So I need to say it was a very big concern for me. I can't say that it was everything was so good, but it was a very big concern for me because there was a lot of pressure. I need to say, if I would say, would you go back and again do it? I would say no. I could not handle that pressure. It was so difficult because you're paying so much of money. You're paying so much of money, and so that is one thing one needs to realize is whether you will be able to sustain for at least 2 years independently without your pay. Can you do that? And if in my case, I had only one daughter, and she was so that kind of commitment was also not there. So any officer, if I were to give a standard, if he has a lot of commitments, I would, but still wants a change, then I would not recommend this high risk MBA. I mean to say, if you have a lot of loans to pay, or you pay parents to take care of, or you have a certain amount of commitments which need to be, like for example, certain payments have to go. And suppose if you are not able to get a job after 1 year plus or something like that, then there could be difficulty. Then you should not do it. Especially because I want to actually advise you because the fees has grown very much.
Yes.
In my time it was 25. Now I believe it is reaching 40. I don't know exactly. So when I'm paying 40, I would not have done it with this current fees. I would not have done it. I would have taken a jump and gone to Canada and done it.
Makes sense. Yes.
I would have gone abroad because there was also a very big debate in our group because whether to go all the way to Canada or US or do it here in India. In my case, because my wife is working here and everything was there, so I said I didn't want to, disturb one part of the family, so I did it in India. But I have a lot of friends, very good friends, all who have done through Schulich, and they're doing extremely well. And they didn't have it. They had all the. I'm saying they had all the commitments. They had payments to be made. They had two daughters. Wife was not working. You name it, they had those kind of commitments, and they are working with Amazon. They're working with as a consultant groups, and so just
Understood.
one fit would not be the right answer here.
So, sir, going ahead, we were talking about 20 plus years of experience or other, PMR officers. So, is it advisable, or rather, is it possible for them to completely change the, career track or, vertical or a domain and go into a different domain by doing this 1 year MBA, or they can go without it also? Because if they do it, and if they do some specifications, specialization, like you can say marketing or project management or operations. So once they do that specialization, that becomes a thappa on their resume. So that is Okay, but if they don't do it, so is it possible for a career switch, domain switch, vertical switch for a 20 plus
So
year officer?
i- for short service, excellent courses to do project management, that will help you. For anybody who's senior, who is 20 plus and all that, honestly speaking, I mean to say, my very, very frank words, these courses hardly even touch your experience. You name it, you put PMP, you do Scrum, you do any kind of things you want. I mean to say, it's your experience will overshadow all of these courses. I mean to say,
Okay,
you
so
can go there and say that I'm a PMP or whatever, but not just because of PMP they will call you. They must have seen something very good in your resume to they have called you.
understood, 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 sir.
Yeah.
So yes, as they say, learning never goes waste. So yes, doing a course is obviously added advantage, but again, it doesn't give you surety of jobs. So for surety of jobs, you have to do other things also. You have to network also. You have to connect with, people in the domain in which you want to go. So one of the problem which I have witnessed, Ghuman sir, and specifically I'm talking about SS officers, that they are not sure about the vertical they want to go into, and they are randomly doing the certifications, they are randomly doing some courses, and they end up doing a security job. So what would be your suggestion to them? Should you
So,
decide the domain first and do the courses?
no, I mean, it's a very valid question. I mean, it's not short service. Even those who are doing up to 20 plus, unless they have, godfather sitting in the corporate world, nobody is sure as to where we will land. And uh, in the sense, it's like when I wanted to break into corporate world, I had to, actually think. Should I focus towards security and these particular kind of roles, or I, break into something totally different. So I decided a certain direction, and that is a risk. And I mean to say, you need to attribute certain risk factors with respect to it. And similarly, if you want to go towards security job, so be, you know, take the path and start doing it. And as that Kaizen policy and all, it like so it's one of the things, you take few steps and then fog only will clear after some time. Don't worry about those particular things, but take a certain path. That what is very important. The problem is, if you spread yourself thin, then you will not make progress. You see, I want to go into sales also, but also I want to go into security. That will put you in trouble. You need to be very sure,
So
not very sure. You will never be sure, but I need to say, I need
yes.
to be, I need to assess myself and say, okay, Jagdeep, I think so, you should do it. And I need to say, honestly speaking, there will be so many self-doubts you will have. And don't worry about such things. It will happen. And don't plan ahead. I mean to say, it's only in the 4Gs we plan 15 years ahead. I mean to say, in corporate world, if you can think clearly for 5 years, you're a Superman.
So, sir, as I mean, I can see that you have varied experience in different domains. So, all those domain shifts which you have carried out, was it willingly, or you lost the interest in, let's say, sales, and then you went into operations, oblique project management? So, how hard it is to switch the domain once you join the civil world? You are already working somewhere. For example, now I'm VP operations in one of the e-com. So how hard it will be for me, let's say, if I switch from operations to supply chain or operations to sales? What are your suggestions for that?
In India, it is almost next to impossible. I mean to say, when I left my sales profile because I wanted to be closer to my family and landed up in operations profile in Edifix. And after some time, I said I really didn't like it. So I was really looking also for a job. But then, I didn't have that strength in my resume because I had only some very short stint in sales. So it was very, very hard. So luckily, this account managers and project management role and transformation role came with British Council. I followed it up, and that also took a lot of time, getting into that particular profile, and that's why. But as I said, it's a challenge. It's a challenge because you really need to showcase that. The most difficult part is to your resume getting shortlisted. That is I
Obviously.
think so,
Yes.
because I see it many times here also, and a lot of people approach me from that particular aspect, and so that is the moment your resume gets shortlisted and you get one this thing, and that is the only thing. But it is not our issue. It's not because we, as a Faucis, are short of experience or on our capability. Unfortunately, I think so. You guys know better, but the industry in India perceives it like that.
Understood. Understood. So ultimately, it boils down to deciding onto the domain or vertical you want to work in very deliberately, and subsequently, I mean, I always tell my friends, I mean, the course mates and all who are leaving, that just analyze your own service, what all things you have done, what all things you loved doing, and make that domain as your domain. So if you, let's say, if you are into operations, if you love doing operations, so follow the same domain. You don't have to change it. But deciding a domain prior to coming out, or even before thinking of leaving Forge, deciding a domain is a very important thing, right, Ghuman sir?
Yes, and I would also like to add one more thing.
Uh,
Deciding a domain, as you have put up, is very good. But before you do that, please do understand the market dynamics as well. What is the large macro market dynamics? For example, you want to break into defense or something like that, and there is we have some issues with certain countries, diplomatic or whatever, and like for example, Make in India and all that. So all these defense firms have got a different twist now. uh, Whether that market in India or in the nation is conducive for the for the industry which you are going for. So that is also very important because it does affect. For example, those who are into development and IT, as you know, there is already a slump which has come. People are so good are getting fired from Meta, getting fired from Google, and you suddenly realize you are totally in the, despite all your qualifications, you're nowhere there. You're not getting selected for those particular reasons. So that is one thing which I would say is one more factor. Uh, what you need to do if you're thinking of your career, like first is do think like macro in India. A, B, C, D things are doing well, and I see a future. Like for example, I was reading an article. There is a boom of EV vehicles. Somebody was saying by 2030 we'll have entire EVs and all that. So is there an industry or any industry which is touches this electrical EV industry? So all of them will do well. For example, your uh, these warehouses, cloud warehouses, and all that is an
yes.
industry which is going to be booming. So that is again one field which is it is good. And there are certain evergreen fields like sales and all that. But as you know, sales you have to put a lot of effort and all that.
Yes.
So yeah, that.
Yes. So coming back to one question, sir. Now we are talking about doing one year in tier one and tier two. So in this the GMAT, preparation is required. So how much time do you think that officer of service, so how much time it will take for him to clear the GMAT and get into such Ivy League schools?
Okay. I went in the wrong way, but I will tell you exactly how you need to prepare for GMAT. Number one, first of
Sure.
all, you need to brush up all your basic mathematics, you know,
Schooling one. Yes.
formulas, formulas and all that. Don't go through any of the books or any of the questions. Nothing. Don't do
Understood.
anything. Just the basics of a little bit of statistics, little bit statistics. No, statistics is the one. I mean, till 10th class, whatever they teach you, just go through. If you buy that, I think so, that book, GMAT book, the first few pages, that is what you need to go through. Similarly, in English, just get comfortable with a little bit of grammar and all that. That's it. So that should take you approximately 3 to 4 days to go through it to understand. But don't attempt any sum which is related to GMAT. Then after you download that, I am a long time back I've given this. Then you download that. They give you 2 free exams if I'm not wrong. The GMAT that
Yes.
particular. Yes. Attempt that test. Whatever score you get, you're going to get 100 to 150 more than that.
Sir.
Okay.
So,
So after that,
talking
no,
about,
after
yes,
that,
sir.
after that, when you start preparing, if I mean, is that there are other hard workers also who will, can break even more. Test has to be given between 3 to 5 months.
Sir,
You cannot do anything more than that. There are that
understood.
many questions and that many answers. When you are preparing for this, these questions and all that, spend time in a question. I mean to say, if you can spend half an hour to understand why did you get it right and why did you got it wrong, rather than focusing on the speed of doing questions in the initial hour, you
Understood.
will do wonderfully well.
Understood.
You will do wonderfully well in the sense is because they are totally logical questions. They are not those India cat type questions. They are totally logical questions. If you can't solve till 10th class maths, and if you're using higher maths, you are going somewhere else.
And and then you are not required to go in tier one school because your basics
Because
are
it
wrong.
is like that. I mean to say there are other things which need to be focused on is which I found it very difficult was grammar is so easy because Indians are very good grammars. We will learn grammar like mathematics, and we will never go wrong. But
Yes.
they have English has got two other two parts also, which is critical thinking and reading, and which will catch you, especially critical thinking. You don't get hang of that, and there is no formula for it. There will 100 people who will tell you there is no formula for it except for practice in reading and critical thinking. जितना ज़्यादा कर सकते हो उतना ज़्यादा करो, but there is no formula for it.
Understood. Understood. So 3 to 5 months, we can say, is a good amount
Yeah.
of time to for preparation of GMAT.
Yes, 3 to 5 months, good enough time for preparation. And so I took coaching, but there are equally few of my friends who did not take coaching and they scored better than me.
Okay. So what would be the ideal score one should achieve for getting into these Ivy Leagues, sir, out of 800?
Um, Look, my personal score was 650. So
Oh, that's
I'm not, it's not a great.
650 is too much, sir.
No. I'm just,
Okay.
I would say for Indian School of Business, any score 600 plus is a good score um, for us for serving guys because they understand. You can't be like these Lady Shriram types or IT types, who will straight away score to that. So they understand. So that's
So
not an issue.
is it same for
No,
IIMs also?
IIM Ahmedabad is very particular. I think so 650 is the cutoff.
650.
I don't know. I'm talking about 6 years back, but they have a cutoff.
Understood.
IIM Calcutta also has a cutoff, but they sometimes do. I met an army officer who had got 620 and he got through IIM Calcutta, and I met him professionally in a very different way. And so he made it. So that's not an issue. IIM Bangalore is out of question. They generally rarely look at defense profiles, but if you can make it, it is one of the very best.
Understood.
I
Understood.
would recommend it for all short service officers.
Understood. Understood, sir.
So that this is really good course. I really wanted to be part of that.
Understood. Understood, sir. So that is all I wanted to know, sir. And last thing, I would request you that if you can provide us with some resources, some guides, or some websites where we can go ahead and get the information regarding different courses in different IIMs. Plus, if you are part of any groups, league groups where you are discussing, different aspects of jobs as well as studies. So I request you, if you do have any resources, please do share with us so that we can share it with our viewers, where they can, get connected and get more knowledge and mentorship from officers like yours.
Yeah. So for the GMAT, I will definitely forward. I've got a very good instructor whom I took coaching from. He's a good chap, and I will put his connections and other books which I've done it. I think I will forward it to you. You may forward it to the network accordingly. Also, my wife is into sending students abroad, and not because I want to grow a business. That there's no charge for any of you guys to even talk to her or to
Thank you
find
so
out
much,
what
sir. Thank
what
you so
what
much.
charges, what you want to do abroad, because I can only guide you for very few, and they have got plethora of courses. And the sense is which are so hidden. Australia, they just our market is booming. UK market is booming. There are so many students who are going to UK and getting work visas. US is again open. Canada is again doing very well. Australia is surprisingly doing well, including New Zealand is open. So I'm
Yes.
going to say this is the time to explore, apart from our Indian Ivy League colleges also.
Sir, one thing, as we've discussed different countries, so there is a prediction of recession in 23. Based on that, firstly, what do you see that will it make so much? I mean, any impact in Indian market? Obviously, it will some impact. But what are your views on impacts? Plus, what are your views to these officers who are about to leave in, let's say, year or two?
So number one, I would like to tell you that uh, the market is. Uh, I mean to say there was a sudden increase intake for a lot of companies, but now the market is little subdued, according to me.
Yes.
Tech
Yes.
has
Even my experience is same says the same, sir, because I'm seeing
so
layoffs.
there are a lot of layoffs are happening, and our hirings have also gone down. Uh, uh, the only evergreen profession which happy remains is the sales, but unfortunately, many of us have no connection with it. So we are a little far from it unless you get into defense sales or something which operates in a totally different business cycle altogether. Apart from what is it with respect to recession, I totally agree with you. It is not. It's from various. Uh, I mean to say, people who have been in a very, very different business fields who are talking about the same thing. I mean to say, I met somebody in Chandigarh who also said similar thing, who was a investment banker, and there was another guy who was also saying thing, and including Jeff Bezos has also said, please do not waste your money in buying TVs, refrigerators, and all that because you need to conserve your money.
Understood.
So,
Understood.
having said that, I would say if this is going to be a recession, then obviously there is going to be a cycle which is going to come up. So there is nothing wrong if you're going to invest that recession period into something new learning, whether it is uh, one of those your courses or something. So rather than leaving in this 23, you can plan for 24 and all that. But as you know, there is there are no guarantees anywhere. But
Yes.
I always felt one thing that if you are above average also and you have been doing well and you have been sincere and integrity has been all okay. I have not seen any one of those guys ever not being picked up. So
Understood. Understood.
I mean, is it there have been a lot of fears that people have gone. Some say that ISB and the Ahmedabad are overrated, and to some extent I do agree because at our age we don't need so much of learning and competition and all that. So I do agree, but there has not been a single officer who has not gone without a job from any of these
Understood.
institutes.
Understood. Understood, sir. So thank you very much for all the insights you have given regarding, the preparation, the financial aspects, as well as the importance. And afterwards, I mean, once you complete your MBA, what all benefits you get, which, networking and alumni.
yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love.